Imagine a time when the world did not belong to us. A time when stepping out of your shelter meant gambling with death. When the night was alive with eyes watching from the darkness, and every shadow could hide a predator ready to strike. Today, humans live in cities, behind walls, with lights to push away the dark. But thousands of years ago, the world was different. We were not the hunters on top. We were the hunted. We were prey. Stay with me until the end, and you'll see how fragile our story began, and how survival against impossible odds shaped everything we are today. Long before we became the most dominant species, humans lived with constant fear. Our ancestors were small compared to the beasts around them. We had no claws, no thick fur, no sharp teeth. We could not outrun the cheetah. We could not wrestle a lion. We could not match the crushing jaws of a crocodile. To most of the great predators of that age, we were simply another meal. Life for early humans meant living among giants. The earth was filled with enormous animals, mammoths, saber-toothed cats, giant crocodiles, massive birds of prey. The land was harsh, the weather unpredictable, and the dangers never stopped. Our ancestors walked upright and carried simple tools, but those tools were little protection against creatures that had been hunting for millions of years. Imagine waking up at dawn in a small group, the fire nearly burned out. Around you, the grasslands stretch wide and endless. You step carefully, scanning the horizon. Suddenly, the silence is broken by a low growl. Golden eyes glimmer through the tall grass. A pack of saber-toothed cats is watching. Do you run? Do you fight? There was no right answer. Survival often depended not on strength, but on luck, on numbers, and on quick thinking. Predators came from every direction. In the trees above, leopards waited silently, ready to leap down without warning. On the riversides, crocodiles lurked in the murky shallows, exploding from the water with terrifying speed. Even the skies were dangerous. In Africa, crowned eagles, with wings nearly 6 feet wide, swooped down on the young, strong enough to carry off a child in their talons. For early humans, there was no place completely safe. Danger was in the grass, the trees, the water, and the air. But humans did not give up. Fear taught them to adapt. One of the first lessons was to stay together. Alone, a human was an easy kill. In groups, they had a chance. So they formed bands, families, and clans. Together, they could watch in every direction, shout warnings, and defend each other. Community was not just about companionship, it was about survival. They also learned the patterns of predators. Over time, they began to recognize tracks in the dirt, to hear the difference between a harmless rustle and the movement of a stalking cat. They learned when lions hunted, when crocodiles struck, and when eagles soared. Knowledge became a weapon sharper than any claw. Still, knowledge alone was not enough. Humans needed tools. At first, they picked up stones and sticks. Later, they shaped those stones into sharper edges, attaching them to spears and axes. These early weapons were not perfect, but they gave humans something no other prey had: a way to fight back. A group with spears was no longer a guaranteed meal for a lion. For the first time, predators had to think twice. Then came the greatest discovery of all: fire. Fire was warmth, light, and safety. Predators feared it. With fire, humans pushed back the night. They could cook food, harden wood for better weapons, and sit in its glow without being swallowed by darkness. Fire turned fragile prey into dangerous survivors. It was the thin red line between safety and death. But survival was still brutal. Every journey to find water or food could end in disaster. Every hunt risked becoming the hunted. Even with weapons and fire, predators were relentless. Our ancestors built simple shelters from branches, hides, and stones, desperate for protection. Caves became sanctuaries, though often they were already home to bears or big cats. Humans were constantly fighting, not just for food, but for space to exist. Yet slowly, something changed. Humans began to use more than fear. They used strategy. Instead of running from predators, they studied them. Instead of chasing prey blindly, they set traps, drove animals into ravines, and hunted in coordinated groups. No other species thought this way. This was the turning point. What had once been weakness, our lack of speed, strength, and weapons, was replaced by intelligence, cooperation, and invention. The world started to shift. Packs of saber-toothed cats that once ruled the plains now faced organized groups with stone-tipped spears. Crocodiles that had ambushed humans for thousands of years now found themselves hunted for meat and hides. Even mammoths, towering giants of the tundra, fell to human persistence as hunters chased them for miles until exhaustion brought them down. Slowly, the balance of power tipped. But the memory of being prey never disappeared. It is written deep inside us. That is why, even today, a sudden sound in the night makes our hearts race. That is why we still fear glowing eyes in the dark. Those instincts are the echoes of an age when predators ruled and humans were weak. Fear shaped us, molded us, and forced us to become more than prey. In time, humans spread across the world. They carried fire, tools, and stories with them. They told tales of the beasts they feared, passing down warnings through generations. These stories were more than entertainment. They were survival guides. Over time, those stories became culture, myth, and legend. Even today, when we tell tales of dragons, monsters, or demons in the dark, we are remembering the predators our ancestors once faced. What began as a struggle for survival became the foundation of everything we are. From fear came intelligence. From weakness came strength. From prey came the predator that now dominates the planet. But we should never forget where we started, because the story of humanity is not just about power, it is about endurance. It is about fragile creatures who refused to give up, who faced the darkness with fire in their hands, and who turned terror into triumph. And so, when you hear the howl of a wolf, or the growl of a big cat, or when a shadow makes you shiver, remember, that feeling is not weakness, it is history. It is the voice of your ancestors, whispering across thousands of years, reminding you of the time when humans were prey.